Beloved soul, hear these words of truth, for they are living words. And when you receive them in your heart, they will transform your world of money and supply. You are standing today at the gateway of abundance, and the key that opens it is not locked away in distant lands, nor hidden in the vaults of the wealthy, for the key is within your own tongue, and the words you dare to speak with faith, for the spoken word is power. It is a sword of spirit, and when you speak words of wealth, you call forth the riches that have always belonged to you. Money is not merely paper nor coin. It is a living current of divine supply, and like a river it flows toward faith, it flows toward joy, it flows toward the heart that says, yes, my good is at hand. Fear may dam the river, doubt may dry the stream. But when you affirm with courage and declare, my money is coming in avalanches of abundance, the river rushes, overflows, carrying blessings you cannot count. Hear me well, every soul has the right to be rich, to be surrounded by beauty, comfort, and supply. Lack is no decree of heaven. It is the shadow cast by false belief. You were not born for poverty. You were not created for struggle. You were destined to demonstrate the limitless supply of the infinite. When you speak words of wealth, you plant seeds in the invisible. Every affirmation, every declaration is a seed of gold buried in the soil of spirit. In due season, it must sprout into visible money. Miracles. The word never returns void. The word always creates. And when you dare to say, my supply is unlimited, doors open, ways appear, gifts arrive, and even strangers become channels of blessing. Your imagination is not idle. It is a workshop of the divine. When you picture yourself wealthy, when you see yourself giving freely, receiving joyfully, walking in prosperity, you are magnetizing the substance of money. The unseen responds to the seen within your heart. Know this, beloved, the law of prosperity is sure. It is not partial nor distant. It works for whosoever will believe and speak. If you affirm wealth, it shall come. If you expect money, it must appear. If you rejoice in supply, it multiplies at once. Give thanks for what you have, and it multiplies. Give thanks for what is coming, and it hastens to appear. Gratitude is the sound that summons heaven to act. The grateful heart is the magnet of miracles and the open gate through which money rushes in. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Be bold in your words. Be fearless in your affirmations. Speak wealth with authority. Speak money with joy, for heaven backs the fearless word, and supply answers to the courageous voice. Say often, my pockets are filled, my table is full, my supply is endless. And see how quickly the world bends to your declaration. Now rise in faith, walk in courage, speak with authority, and watch as rivers of money, opportunities, promotions, and blessings pour into your life beyond measure. For you are the heir of divine abundance. You are the steward of infinite supply, and nothing can withhold from you the riches of the universe. The spoken word carries creative power, and when spoken with faith, it releases energy that manifests into visible money, wealth, and opportunities. And it is through the word that we shape and form the substance of the unseen into the visible treasures of the seen. For every word uttered with conviction becomes a seed cast into the field of spirit, and spirit is faithful to bring forth a harvest in exact likeness to the seed that has been sown. When you speak words of fear, you draw fearful results. When you speak words of doubt, you magnetize delay and disappointment. But when you speak words of faith, radiant with confidence and expectation, you set in motion a current of invisible forces that rush forward to deliver abundance, wealth, and supply in forms beyond the imagination. And every vibration of your voice is a decree that summons circumstances, conditions, and events that mirror the word you have dared to release. For the word is not idle, it is alive. It is charged with the electricity of spirit, and spirit hears every declaration as law spoken into the ethers. And when you declare, money flows freely to me, or my supply, unlimited or divine riches now pour into my life, those words go forth clothed with the energy of faith, and they draw unto themselves the people, the channels, the opportunities, and the circumstances that fulfill the decree spoken. For words are not lost, they are not forgotten, they are recorded in invisible and echoed in the substance of the universe until they find expression on the stage of your daily life. Consider that every fortune ever built, every opportunity ever discovered, every advancement in life began first with the spoken word that called it forth. For nothing moves until a word is spoken, and the word is the command that sets divine machinery into motion. If one speaks lack, lack appears. If one speaks failure, failure rises. But if one speaks wealth, wealth must arrive. If one speaks opportunity, doors swing wide. If one speaks blessing, blessings hasten forth. The universe does not choose for you, it responds to the words you choose for yourself, and by your words you open gates of abundance or doors of limitation. Money is drawn not by labor alone, nor by struggle, nor by human force, but by the word aligned with faith, for the word is the seed and faith is the sunlight, and together they create the harvest of visible riches that all may see and enjoy. And when you understand this, you begin to watch every word you speak, knowing that each utterance is a decree, each sentence is a prophecy, and each declaration is a magnet that shapes your world. The reason many live in lack is not because heaven has withheld, but because they have spoken against their own good. They have decreed words of fear and words of poverty and words of doubt. And the law of words has answered faithfully and brought to them the likeness of what they spoke, for the law cannot be broken. It can only obey the decree spoken into it, and so every negative word becomes a chain, every doubtful word becomes a closed door, but every word of faith, every word of money, every word of wealth becomes a key that opens rivers of supply. When you speak words of wealth, let them be spoken with joy, let them be spoken with boldness, let them be spoken with the certainty that the unseen listens and the unseen must obey. Say aloud, divine riches are mine, money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. Supply is unlimited, and channels are endless, and as these words pass from your lips, they begin to take shape in the invisible, and soon they press forward into the seen, and you shall hold the evidence of the words you once dared to speak. The power is not in the noise of the word, but in the faith that carries it, for a word spoken in doubt is an empty vessel, but a word spoken in faith is a vessel filled with fire, and it travels far, it pierces deep, it shakes loose obstacles, and it creates paths where none were seen before. Faith is the substance that clothes the word with life, and without faith the word is a shell, but with faith the word is a living sword that cuts through impossibility and summons prosperity. Know that each time you speak a word of wealth, you are writing on the pages of destiny, you are painting pictures on the canvas of tomorrow. You are commanding unseen armies to march in your favor and to prepare blessings for you in the days to come. So guard your words as a king guards his treasure. Speak only that which you desire to see, for what you speak must one day stand before you in living form. Say, therefore, often and with confidence, money comes to me freely, easily, and joyfully. My supply is endless, my channels are many, and my abundance overflows. And keep these words alive upon your lips. Let them be your song in the morning, your decree in the evening, your whisper at night. For repetition plants the seed deep in the soil of the mind, and once the mind accepts it, the universe must obey and send forth the visible evidence in money, in wealth, in opportunities, in promotions, in gifts, and in blessings. The word is the starting point of all creation. And if you would be rich, begin by speaking riches. If you would be abundant, begin by speaking abundance. If you would see money in your hands, begin by declaring money flows to me now, for words are substance, and they attract after their kind. Like calls to like, and the decree of wealth calls forth wealth. The decree of money calls forth money. The decree of abundance calls forth abundance. And once these words are spoken in faith, they never return empty, but they return bearing the harvest of visible riches. Therefore, let every word you speak be a word of power. Let every decree you utter be a decree of faith. Let every declaration carry the fragrance of victory. And know that the word spoken today becomes the money, the wealth, and the opportunity of tomorrow. Money is not just material currency. It is not merely the paper in your hand, nor the coins that ring in your pocket. Money is the living current of divine supply. It is a stream of spiritual substance that flows ceaselessly from the infinite, and this current moves in rhythm with your belief, your expectation, and your gratitude. When belief is strong, the current surges. When expectation is high, the current accelerates. When gratitude overflows, the current multiplies. But when doubt enters, the current is blocked. When fear rises, the flow is hindered. When ingratitude darkens the heart, the river of money slows to a trickle. Money is spirit clothed in form. It is divine energy made visible. It is the substance of faith translated into supply. And though it may appear as currency in the bank, or as opportunity in the world, or as gifts through human hands, its origin is always higher, for money flows from the invisible to the visible, from spirit to matter, from the unseen to the seen, and your inner state of mind is the magnet that either attracts or repels its flow. The world may teach that money comes only by struggle, only by endless toil, only by chance or connection, But the higher law declares that money flows naturally to the soul aligned with faith, the mind filled with expectation, and the heart lifted in gratitude. For these three forces are the mighty magnets of supply. Faith is the root, expectation is the blossom, gratitude is the fruit. Together they form the living tree of prosperity, and every branch of that tree bears golden fruit in its season. When belief is strong, the mind no longer entertains thoughts of lack, the heart no longer trembles in fear, the voice no longer speaks words of limitation, and instead every thought, every feeling, every word becomes a decree that money is mine, supply is sure, wealth is flowing. And because the inner is certain, the outer must align. The law cannot fail. Belief is the unseen cause, and visible money is the effect. Expectation is the hand that reaches forward to claim what belief has created. When you expect money, you prepare a place for it. When you expect abundance, you open the gate through which it flows. Expectation is faith in motion. It is the confident readiness that says, I know my supply is at hand. And because expectation is fearless, it creates channels unseen. It brings opportunities unexpected. It rearranges events to favor the one who dares to believe. Gratitude is the song that multiplies supply. When you give thanks for money in hand, it grows. When you give thanks for blessings received, they increase. When you give thanks even before the evidence arrives, you call forth the unseen into the scene. For gratitude is the sound of abundance, and abundance hastens to wherever its sound is heard. Gratitude says, I already have, and because the universe echoes agreement, it says, yes, more is coming. Yes, more is given. Yes, more is flowing. And soon the small stream becomes a river, and the river becomes a flood of supply. Think of money not as a limited pile to be grasped and guarded, but as a living river that flows endlessly from source. When you see it this way, you cease to cling in fear, you cease to worry over loss, you cease to doubt the future. For who fears when standing beside a river that never runs dry? Who doubts when watching a stream that flows day and night? Who worries when abundance is endless and certain? And so, when you align with this truth, money flows easily, money flows joyfully, money flows continually. The error of many is that they see money as separate from spirit. They think of it as a material object disconnected from divine law. But money is divine energy clothed in matter, and to reject it is to reject a form of supply. To fear it is to fear the gift of heaven. To worship it is to misunderstand its nature. For it is not the master, it is the servant. It is not the end, it is the channel. It is not the power, it is the form. And when rightly understood, money becomes the obedient tool that carries out the will of the divine through you, bringing comfort, blessing, opportunity, and freedom. Belief without expectation is incomplete. Expectation without gratitude is unstable. Gratitude without belief is weak. But when the three are joined, when belief says it is mine, when expectation says it is coming, when gratitude says it is here, then the current of money rushes in unstoppable invisible hands. Prepare the way, unseen doors swing wide, unimagined opportunities appear. And what once seemed impossible becomes the daily normal of your life. Let your belief be bold, let your expectation be joyful, let your gratitude be unceasing. Speak aloud words of faith, affirm daily money is flowing. Now visualize the current of gold light rushing toward you, feel it with joy, and give thanks as if you already hold it. And soon you shall stand amazed at the evidence, for the law is faithful. The current never ceases, and money is the obedient servant of faith, expectation, and gratitude. Remember, always money is not outside of you, it is not distant, it is not withheld. It is the reflection of your inner state. It flows to the one who knows it flows, it multiplies for the one who thanks for it, it arrives in abundance for the one who expects it. It is divine supply in visible form. It is spirit wearing the mask of substance. It is heaven's promise made tangible, and it will never fail the one who dares to believe. Fear, doubt, and worry block the divine flow of money, while faith, joy, and affirmations open the gates of abundance. For the current of supply is always moving. It is like a river of gold rushing through the invisible, and every soul is meant to drink freely from it. Yet when the mind entertains fear, it throws up a dam across the river. When the heart indulges in worry, it builds walls around the stream. When the lips speak doubt, it casts heavy stones into the water until the current slows and the flow is hindered. But when faith is spoken, when joy is expressed, when affirmations are declared with conviction, the barriers are lifted, the walls crumble, the stones dissolve, and the river flows again, bringing money, opportunities, and blessings in ways beyond human reason. Fear Is the great thief it whispers that supply may fail, it warns that opportunities may close, it paints pictures of poverty and lack, and because the mind entertains its shadows, the heart trembles and the voice speaks words of limitation, and soon the very fear one imagined becomes the reality one experiences, for fear is faith turned upside down, it is belief in the power of evil, it is trust in lack rather than abundance, and as surely as faith draws good, fear draws its opposite, doubt. Is the paralyzer, it questions the word, it delays the miracle, it wavers between yes and no. And because it wavers, it holds back the flow, for the law answers to conviction, not to hesitation when one affirms wealth, but secretly doubts in the heart. The words are weakened, and the decree is diluted, and the result is delay or disappointment. Yet when one believes with certainty that money flows without hindrance, the decree is strong, the command is clear, and the invisible hastens to obey. Worry is the constant rehearsal of failure. It is the imagination used against the self. It is the mind running in circles over what may go wrong, and every moment spent in worry is a seed planted in the soil of lack. And just as surely as good seeds bring harvest of plenty, worry brings harvest of struggle, for the law cannot distinguish between positive or negative. It only multiplies what is planted, and so worry multiplies problems as faith multiplies blessings. Yet the remedy is always near, for faith is stronger than fear, joy is greater than doubt, and affirmations are the weapons that break worry into dust. When one speaks boldly, money comes to me freely. When one sings with joy, abundance surrounds me now. When one repeats with conviction, my supply is unlimited, the sound travels into the unseen, and shakes loose the chains that fear had forged. Faith is the golden key. It opens doors no man can shut, it removes mountains, it calls forth money, supply, and opportunity. Where none seemed possible, faith says, I see, though others see nothing. Faith says, I have, though hands are still empty. Faith says, it is done, though no evidence has appeared. And because faith is aligned with divine law, the unseen rushes to create the picture. Faith holds joy, is the fragrance of heaven. It is the song that attracts blessing. It is the shining light that magnetizes good. When you rejoice as though supply has already arrived, you create a vibration that cannot be denied. Heaven hears the song of joy and answers with more reasons to rejoice. And so joy multiplies money as surely as rain multiplies. The harvest affirmations are the daily decrees that shape destiny. When you affirm wealth, you plant wealth. When you affirm money, you call forth money. When you affirm supply, you summon supply. The repetition of affirmations engraves truth upon the subconscious mind. And once the subconscious accepts the decree, the universe must bring the evidence, for the outer world is but the mirror of the inner conviction. Say, therefore, often money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. Supply is endless channels, are many, abundance surrounds me. I am rich in every good thing, and let these affirmations be spoken not in cold ritual, with living faith and burning joy, for the power is not in the words alone, but in the spirit behind them. Every time you replace fear with faith, you remove a stone from the river. Every time you exchange doubt for joy, you break a chain. Every time you speak an affirmation, you swing wide a gate, and soon the current of money which seemed blocked begins to rush forward again, bringing opportunity, promotion, blessing, and unexpected riches. Understand this deeply. The flow of money is never absent. The river is always running, but it is your inner state that determines whether you stand in drought or drink from abundance. If you dwell in fear, you turn away from the stream. If you live in doubt, you close the channel. If you indulge in worry, you blind yourself to opportunity. But if you choose faith, you stand in the river. If you choose joy, you open the floodgates. If you choose affirmations, you command the river to deliver supply. Therefore, let your mind be stayed on faith. Let your heart overflow with joy. Let your lips be filled with affirmations of wealth. And never again give power to fear, doubt, or worry. For they have no truth, they have no strength. Except what you lend them, they are shadows that vanish when the light of faith appears. They are illusions that dissolve when joy is chosen. They are lies that fall when affirmations are spoken. Boldly rise each morning and declare this is a day of divine supply. Rise each morning and affirm money flows to me freely. Rise each morning and rejoice. If the blessings were already in your hand, and soon you will find that the outer world has no choice but to reflect the inner decree, for the law of spirit cannot fail, and the river of money cannot be stopped. Every soul has a right to be rich because abundance is a spiritual inheritance and lack is only an illusion created by negative thought. You were not born into this world to live in fear or struggle or scarcity. You were not placed upon this earth to beg for daily bread or to scrape together fragments of survival, for your birthright is supply, your inheritance is wealth, your divine portion is abundance without measure. The universe is filled with endless resources, overflowing treasures, ceaseless currents of opportunity, and every soul is called to partake freely, without shame, without hesitation, without limit. The thought of lack is the great deception. It whispers that there is not enough. It paints pictures of shortage. It convinces the mind that wealth belongs only to the few. But this is illusion, for the storehouse of heaven is endless, and the supply of spirit never diminishes. When one draws from the river is not lessened. When one eats from the table, the feast is not diminished. When one receives abundance, it does not reduce another, for supply is infinite. And the more one takes, the more is given. The more one uses, the more multiplies. The more one gives, the more pours forth. To believe in lack is to deny divine order. To accept poverty as natural is to reject the truth of abundance. To think riches are reserved for others is to ignore the spiritual law that governs all life. Every soul has the same inheritance. Every child of spirit is heir to the same supply. And the difference between wealth and want is not in fate or destiny, but in thought and word and belief. For thought creates images, word shapes reality, belief sets law in motion. And when the inner is filled with lack, the outer reflects scarcity. But when the inner is filled with abundance, the outer displays riches. You must see yourself as heir to divine wealth. You must know within that riches are your right, not as greed, not as vanity, not as selfish grasping, but as the natural state of your being. For abundance is harmony, and wealth is freedom, and prosperity is divine order in visible form. When you claim this right, you honor the source that created you. When you accept this inheritance, you fulfill the purpose for which you were born. When you walk in riches, you demonstrate the power of spirit clothed in matter. Scarcity is a shadow cast by negative thought. When the mind believes I cannot, the shadow falls. When the lips declare I lack, the shadow deepens. When the heart fears I will fail, the shadow grows thicker. Yet this shadow has no substance. It is a phantom born of thought. It is a mirage created by false belief. And when you turn to the light of truth, the shadow dissolves at once. The truth is abundance. The reality is wealth. The law is endless supply. And to see this truth is to banish the illusion of lack forever. Every time you think a thought of poverty, you are weaving a chain around your soul. Every time you declare words of shortage, you are closing the door to supply. Every time you believe in struggle, you are turning away from your inheritance. But every time you affirm I am rich, every time you declare my supply is unlimited, every time you believe I am heir to divine wealth, you unlock gates of abundance. You remove chains of limitation. You call forth riches from the unseen. Think of the fields of the earth. They bring forth endless harvests season after season. Think of the oceans. They pour forth ceaseless waves. Think of the stars. They shine without end. Think of the air. It flows freely without measure. All of creation testifies to abundance. There is no shortage in the design of the universe. There is no poverty in the order of heaven. There is only endless supply pouring forth for every soul who dares to receive. To deny your right to be rich is to close your hand against the gifts already extended to you. To doubt your inheritance is to leave the treasure chest unopened. To fear wealth is to hide from the very blessing meant to free you. For wealth is not evil. Riches are not corrupt. Money is not poison. When rightly understood, they are the tools of spirit. They are the channels of blessing. They are the visible evidence of invisible supply. So rise in thought, rise in word, rise in belief, and claim your inheritance. Say often, abundance is my birthright, wealth is my divine portion, prosperity flows through me, riches belong to me now. And let these words sink deep into the subconscious until they take root and grow. For once the subconscious accepts the decree, the outer world must bring it forth. The unseen must become seen. The invisible must become tangible. Know within yourself that you are not excluded. Know within yourself that you are not forgotten. Know within yourself that your supply is certain, and that you have a divine right to every good thing, comfort, freedom, beauty, joy, and riches without end. There is no decree of poverty upon you. There is no curse of lack upon you. The only chains are the chains of thought. And when you change thought, you break the chains. When you change word, you open the gates. When you change belief, you claim the inheritance. Every soul is born rich not by earthly measure, but by spiritual decree, and to live poor is to forget your origin. To live in lack is to walk in shadow while standing in sunlight. To accept poverty is to deny the endless river flowing beside you. So awaken, rise, lift your head, and claim the truth. Abundance is your inheritance. Supply is your portion. Wealth is your divine right, and nothing can take it from you but your own belief. Words are seeds. When spoken with conviction, they plant invisible riches that sprout into tangible money, miracles, and divine timing. Every word you speak is a seed cast into the fertile soil of spirit, and that soil never refuses a seed. It receives every utterance. It nourishes every decree. It multiplies every declaration, and in due time it pushes forth the harvest in the visible world. The lips are like the hands of a sower casting seed into the fields of eternity, and the field never fails to yield after its kind. If you sow words of fear, you reap harvests of trouble. If you sow words of lack, you reap shortage and struggle. If you sow words of doubt, you reap delay and disappointment. But if you sow words of faith, you reap blessings. If you sow words of money, you reap supply. If you sow words of abundance, you reap overflowing riches, for the law is sure, and the soil does not choose, it only produces after the seed given to it. And the seed is always the spoken word. When one says, money comes to me easily and joyfully, that word is a seed of gold planted in the invisible. And though the eye cannot see it at first, it is alive, it is germinating, it is drawing to itself the conditions, the people, the channels, and the opportunities to manifest as visible money. When one says, my supply is endless, that seed takes root and unseen forces arrange themselves to prove it true. When one says, I am rich in every good thing, the soil receives it and sets in motion growth that must in time break through into reality. Every great achievement, every fortune, every opportunity began with a word spoken in conviction. Nothing is created until the word is spoken, for the word is the command that starts creation in motion. It is the divine decree released through human lips, and once spoken with faith, it is carried into the ethers where it gathers substance and form. Until it returns fulfilled, many fail because they speak idle words of lack and do not realize that these are seeds as well. The soil does not ignore them. It receives them faithfully and produces accordingly. When one says, I am always broke, when one says money never stays with me, when one says wealth belongs only to others, those words go forth as seeds of poverty. And soon the harvest arrives, faithfully showing up in unpaid bills, empty accounts, and endless struggle. The soil has done its work, but the sower has chosen poor seed. Yet the moment you change the seed, the harvest must also change. The moment you speak words of wealth instead of poverty, the crop begins to turn. The moment you sow abundance instead of lack, the field prepares new fruit. The moment you decree prosperity, the old weeds begin to wither and the new shoots of supply begin to rise. It may not appear instantly, just as seeds do not sprout the day they are planted, but it is certain, for the law never fails, and what is sown must one day rise. Therefore guard your words as a farmer guards precious seed. Let no careless utterance of lack escape your lips. Let no idle declaration of poverty fall into the soil, for every word plants something and every seed returns with harvest. Instead, fill your lips with affirmations of money. Fill your mouth with decrees of abundance. Fill your speech with songs of prosperity, and you shall stand amazed as the invisible fields burst forth with golden harvests of money, opportunities, promotions, and blessings beyond count. Affirm daily words of wealth. Say often, money flows to me from every direction. I am guided to rich opportunities. My income increases daily. I give thanks for endless supply. And let these affirmations be spoken not in doubt but in joy, not in fear but in faith, not in weakness but in boldness. For conviction is the life of the seed, and joy is the water that nourishes it. Gratitude is the sunlight that strengthens it, and persistence is the hand that tends it. Until the harvest comes, do not despise the day of small beginnings, for even the largest tree begins with a single seed. Even the greatest fortune begins with a single word. Every time you affirm wealth, you are planting another seed. Every time you declare abundance, you are casting another handful in the field. Every time you speak prosperity, You are filling the soil with rich seed, and though the growth may seem invisible for a season beneath the surface, the roots are spreading, the shoots are forming, the unseen is stirring, and suddenly in the perfect time, the harvest breaks forth, and you hold in your hands the evidence of the words you once dared to speak. The soil of spirit is generous, it does not limit, it does not withhold, it multiplies without measure. So plant lavishly, speak abundantly, sow words of prosperity morning and night. And let not fear steal your seed, let not doubt dig it up, let not impatience trample it down, but trust the process, for the harvest is certain, and the reward is sure. Every money miracle that has ever appeared in the lives of men and women has first been planted in words, words spoken in secret, words spoken aloud, words whispered with trembling, yet filled with faith, words sung in joy, words repeated again and again until the heart believed and the subconscious accepted, and the universe obeyed. So too shall your words bring forth money miracles that will astonish you and those around you. So let your lips never cease to sow wealth, let your voice never cease to plant abundance, let your declarations never cease to scatter seeds of prosperity into the boundless soil of spirit. And know without question that every word is alive, every word is creative, every word is a seed that must return with harvest. For the law is sure, the soil is faithful, and the harvest of money, wealth, and opportunity is certain. Imagination is the workshop of the spirit. It is the sacred place where invisible riches are shaped and formed long before they become visible treasures in the outer world. Everything you see in life, every building, every invention, every fortune, every empire began in the secret chamber of imagination, and the wealth you seek must first be pictured there, for the mind is the womb and imagination is the place of conception before money flows into your hands. It must first be created in your thoughts. When you dare to imagine yourself wealthy, you are already shaping the form of riches in the invisible realm. When you picture yourself living in abundance, you are already planting the design of prosperity into the universal mind. When you see yourself surrounded by money, opportunities, luxury, and freedom, you are building a pattern that the spirit must one day fill with substance. For the law is this: what you can see within you will one day see around you. The mistake many make is they let imagination dwell on lack. They see themselves broke. They see themselves struggling. They imagine bills. They imagine rejection and delay. And these pictures are also seeds, and the soil of the universe never questions. It receives the image and sets about making it real. So the one who constantly pictures lack finds lack. The one who constantly imagines failure meets failure. But the one who dares to hold images of wealth inevitably walks into a harvest of wealth. So let your imagination be filled with prosperity. See yourself paying every bill with ease. See yourself walking into the bank with accounts overflowing. See yourself stepping into opportunities that multiply your income. See yourself holding large sums of money with joy. See yourself sharing freely with others and still having more than enough. And as these pictures are painted within, they begin to radiate outward like magnets, drawing to themselves the people, the circumstances, the channels, and the events that match them. Imagination is not idle play. It is the brush of the soul painting masterpiece of your destiny. Every picture held long enough begins to gather substance. Every vision cherished with feeling begins to attract its likeness. Every mental image infused with gratitude and faith begins to crystallize into reality. When you close your eyes and see yourself wealthy, universe opens doors to make that picture true. The great mistake is to think imagination is fantasy. Imagination is creation. Imagination is the beginning of every miracle and every fortune and every break. Rousseau, guard what you picture, hold only the images you desire and banish the ones you do not. For every picture is a seed, and every seed bears fruit. When you imagine, do it with detail. Imagine the texture of wealth. Imagine the feeling of freedom. Imagine the taste of luxury. Imagine the sound of joy and laughter in prosperous living. Imagine the scent of success filling your atmosphere. And the more real you make it in your imagination, the sooner it must appear in your reality. For the subconscious cannot tell the difference between the real and the vividly imagined. It accepts all as real, and then moves the universe to make it so. Each morning and each night, close your eyes and build your wealth in imagination. See yourself already possessing the money, already enjoying the freedom, already celebrating the abundance, already receiving the opportunities, already living the lifestyle. and let no doubt interrupt this sacred vision, for doubt is like erasing the canvas, faith is like finishing. The masterpiece imagination creates belief, and belief creates reality. When you imagine consistently, the mind begins to accept it as possible, then as natural, then as inevitable. And once it is inevitable in thought, it must become unavoidable in life, even when the outer world seems to show lack. Even when circumstances appear limited, do not abandon your inner vision, for the outer is but a reflection of the inner, and what is held long enough within will force the outer to change. When you imagine wealth while facing lack, you are planting the seed. When you imagine freedom while bound by debts, you are shaping the form. When you imagine abundance while seeing shortage, you are summoning the invisible powers to rearrange everything in your favor. This is why the rich live rich before they are rich. They walk rich. They talk rich. They dress rich. They think rich. They imagine rich until the world can no longer deny it, and it must surrender wealth to them. They rehearse prosperity in their inner theater until the stage of life is compelled to perform the script. So I say to you, let no day pass without imagination. Let no morning begin without a vision of money flowing to you. Let no night end without a picture of abundance surrounding you. Let every idle moment be filled with prosperity images until the mind becomes saturated with wealth consciousness and the subconscious becomes pregnant with prosperity. And when the time is full, the harvest will burst forth, and you will find yourself living inside the very pictures you once dared to hold. Do not shrink your imagination to match your circumstances. Expand your imagination to stretch your circumstances. Do not lower your vision to agree with lack. Raise your vision to call in wealth. Do not let the outer world dictate the inner picture. Let the inner picture command the outer world. Imagination is the master architect, and reality is only the obedient builder. So picture boldly, picture lavishly, picture generously. See more than you ever thought possible. See yourself walking in the highest realms of prosperity. See yourself not only rich but overflowing. See yourself not only supplied but supplying others. See yourself not only blessed but being a blessing. And as you hold this vision daily, it will grow within, it will radiate without, and it will gather to itself everything needed to make it fact. For the imagination is never empty. It is the mold of creation, the blueprint of destiny, the invisible magnet of supply. And as you fill it with images of money, wealth, and abundance, you are shaping the future that must one day appear. So take hold of this divine tool and never let it lie idle. Use it to picture yourself in fullness of prosperity. Use it to rehearse your future of riches. Use it to live inwardly the life you are destined to live outwardly. And know that the universe is faithful, and the law is sure. What is vividly imagined with faith must inevitably become the life you live. Imagination is a magnet for money, because every picture you hold in your inner world calls forth its likeness in the outer world. When you dare to see yourself living in wealth, the law of attraction begins to draw money and opportunities into your life. When you close your eyes and picture yourself already prosperous, the vibration of that image sends a signal to the universe, and the universe must answer with experiences that match your inner picture. Think of the mind as a great magnet. The thoughts and images you dwell on are the charges that activate it, and the magnet pulls to you people, events, circumstances, channels that match those charges. If your imagination is full of fear, then fear comes. If your imagination is full of lack, then lack comes. But if your imagination is full of wealth, then wealth must come. It is not chance, it is not luck, it is law. And the law is always faithful. When you imagine yourself holding money, it may seem at first like a dream, but every fortune ever built was first imagined in secret before it appeared in public. Every house, every invention, every business empire began in the mind of someone who pictured it long before it came to pass. So, when you picture money flowing to you, it is not fantasy. It is the first step of creation, and the more clearly you hold that image, the faster it moves toward you. The universe does not respond to weak, scattered pictures. It responds to vivid images charged with feeling. So when you imagine yourself wealthy, do not do it casually. Do it with passion. Feel the joy of paying every bill with ease. Feel the thrill of walking into stores knowing you can buy what you desire. Feel the peace of having overflowing accounts and no worry about tomorrow. Feel the laughter of sharing wealth with family and friends and giving generously. Feel the lightness of walking in freedom, where nothing binds you. The stronger the feeling, the stronger the magnet. You may say, but I do not see how the money will come. And I say that is not your work. Your work is to hold the picture. The how is the work of the universe. The channels are endless. The ways are infinite. Money can come from unexpected sources, promotions, opportunities, gifts, ideas, doors you never noticed before. And when your imagination is alive with prosperity, you become aligned with those channels. You begin to notice them. You begin to attract them. You begin to step into them. Let your imagination rehearse your prosperity. See yourself again and again living in the state of wealth. Walk in your mind. Through the house you desire, drive in your mind. The car you dream of, feel in your mind. The joy of traveling where you choose, experience in your mind. The freedom of time and abundance of money for each rehearsal strengthens the magnet and draws the future closer. Gratitude makes the magnet stronger. When you give thanks for the money you see in imagination, you are declaring it real. And the universe rushes to make it tangible. When you say, I am so thankful that money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. When you say, I am so grateful that my accounts are overflowing. When you say, I give thanks for the money that comes from unexpected ways, you are energizing the magnet and increasing its pull. Doubt weakens the magnet, fear reverses it, but faith supercharges it. It's so protect your imagination from negative pictures. If fear of lack arises, replace it with an image of supply. If worry about bills comes, replace it with an image of money arriving to cover them. If you hear words of limitation, refuse them, and instead affirm a vision of unlimited riches for the imagination must be trained and guarded as the sacred source of wealth. Your inner world is the blueprint of your outer world. What you hold long enough in imagination must one day be built in reality. When a builder follows a blueprint, the house must match the design. When the universe follows your imagination, your life must match the picture. So decide today to create only images of prosperity, only visions of wealth, only pictures of abundance, and refuse to let the canvas of your mind be painted with lack. It matters not where you are today. You may feel surrounded by shortage. You may see only limitation, but if you hold a new picture and refuse to let it go, the outer must bow to the inner, and your world will begin to shift. Doors will open, ways will appear, people will show up, money will come, and the life you imagined will become the life you live. Say to yourself daily, my imagination is a magnet for money. My visions of wealth are drawing riches into my life. My pictures of abundance are pulling opportunities, promotions, ideas, and miracles to me now. And say it with faith, for every time you do, you strengthen the current and increase the pull. The imagination is like a seed, and money the harvest. When you plant a seed, you may not see the tree in a day, but the law is sure that seed must grow if watered and nurtured. So too, when you plant images of wealth in your mind, they must grow if you nurture them with faith, gratitude, and persistence. It may take time, but the harvest must come. And when it comes, it often comes in ways far greater than you imagined. So never despise your imagination. Never treat it as idle play. It is the magnet of creation. It is the secret chamber where invisible substance is shaped into visible riches. Fill it daily with prosperity and watch as money flows in streams into your hands. Fill it daily with wealth and watch as the universe rearranges itself to make your vision real. Let your imagination live richly. Let it be bold. Let it be lavish. Let it be abundant. And do not shrink your pictures to fit your present. Instead, expand your pictures to create a new present. See yourself rich, not tomorrow, but now. See yourself abundant, not someday, but now. See yourself wealthy, not in the future, but in the eternal now. And as you do, the magnet grows stronger and money rushes toward you from every direction. The law of prosperity is impersonal. It does not favor one person over another. It does not choose some for riches and others for lack. It is a law, and laws do not discriminate. Just as gravity pulls upon all without partiality, the law of prosperity works for anyone who aligns with it and speaks wealth with faith and refuses to accept poverty as reality. Too many souls believe that prosperity is only for a chosen few. They look at the rich and think they were destined to have what others cannot yet. This is not true. Prosperity is not a gift of chance. Prosperity is not a favor granted by luck. Prosperity is a law, and when you work with the law, you prosper. Just as when you work with the law of gravity, you stand upon solid ground. When one affirms wealth with conviction, the law of prosperity responds. When one expects supply without wavering, the law of prosperity responds. When one acts in faith, refusing the illusion of poverty, the law of prosperity responds. It cannot do otherwise, for it is law. If a farmer sows wheat, he cannot reap corn. If a farmer sows corn, he cannot reap wheat. The law of the harvest is impersonal. it yields exactly what is sown. And in the same manner, if you sow words of wealth, if you sow visions of abundance, if you sow expectations of money, the law of prosperity yields wealth, abundance, and money. If you sow words of lack, if you sow images of poverty, if you sow fears of shortage, the law yields lack, poverty, and shortage. The law does not play favorites. It does not look at your past. It does not care about your background. It does not measure your education or your connections. It only measures your faith, your words, and your visions. The law is no respecter of persons. It respects only belief and expression. This means anyone anywhere can prosper. The poor man who speaks wealth with faith will rise. The rich man who fears loss will fall. The child who declares abundance with innocence will receive. The elder who clings to doubt will struggle. For the law of prosperity bends to no one, but it obeys everyone who dares to believe. Therefore, you must take responsibility for your words and your thoughts. You must recognize that every declaration is a command, every vision is a blueprint, every expectation is a magnet. If you declare, I am always short of money, then the law obeys and shortage comes. If you declare, I am always blessed with money, then the law obeys and blessings come. If you expect nothing, then law gives nothing. If you expect riches, then the law gives riches. Understand this truth. Prosperity does not respond to need. Prosperity responds to faith. Many need but remain in lack because they speak lack. Many suffer but remain empty because they expect emptiness. Many cry for supply but keep declaring poverty, so the law gives them exactly what they hold. But those who dare to speak wealth, those who dare to affirm abundance, those who dare to expect money in great measure, find the law rushing to fulfill their declarations. It is written that the universe is abundant and infinite, and no one can exhaust its supply. There is no shortage in truth. There is only unlimited substance ready to take form through the word of faith. So when you declare, I am prosperous, the substance begins to move. When you declare, money flows to me easily and frequently, the channels begin to open. When you declare, I am rich and supplied, the substance must respond and take visible form. The law of prosperity is not delayed, it is not hindered, it is only reflected in the strength of your belief. When you speak wealth with hesitation, you weaken the command. When you speak wealth with authority, you strengthen command. The law is mechanical. It simply reflects back the force of your declaration. This means you must train your tongue to speak only wealth, train your thoughts to picture only abundance, train your imagination to rehearse only prosperity, and refuse to let poverty or lack pass through your lips. Dwell in your mind, for each thought, each word, each picture is a seed, and the law multiplies the seeds planted. Do not say, I am poor, even in jest. Do not say, I cannot afford it, even in passing. Do not say, I am broke, even in conversation, for the law hears all and obeys all. Instead declare, I am rich, even if the outer world denies it. Declare, I am supplied, even if the pockets seem empty. Declare, I have more than enough, even if the bills surround you, for the law will move to change the outer to match the inner. See the power of this impersonal law, for it works for the one who believes in lack, just as it works for the one who believes in wealth. The difference is only the picture held, the word spoken, the expectation carried. If you hold the picture of wealth, wealth comes. If you hold the picture of lack, lack comes. The law is impersonal. It does not choose, it only reflects. So the wise do not waste time begging for prosperity. They do not plead with the heavens. They do not complain about shortage. They simply align with the law by speaking abundance, by picturing riches, by expecting money in overflowing measure. And the law must deliver. You are never too late to begin with this law. You are never far gone. You are never too deep in lack to turn the tide, for the law does not care about yesterday. It cares about the seed you plant today. If you have planted lack for years, then today plant abundance. If you have spoken poverty for years, then today speak wealth. If you have imagined shortage for years, then today imagine riches. And as you persist, the harvest must change, for the law cannot be broken. The law of prosperity is perfect. It is exact. It is unfailing. It is always at work, whether you recognize it or not. So let today be the day you choose to work with it. Consciously let today be day you refuse to speak lack, refuse to picture shortage, refuse to expect poverty. Let today be the day you declare with faith, I am prosperous, I am rich, I am supplied in every way, and watch as the law of prosperity answers in ways beyond your expectation. Gratitude multiplies supply, because gratitude is the song of the soul that calls forth more of what it celebrates. When you give thanks for what you have, you open the floodgates for more. When you give thanks for money received, you summon greater money to arrive. When you give thanks for opportunities, you invite new doors to swing wide before you. Gratitude is not simply politeness, it is a spiritual magnet that draws increase. The law of life is that whatever you appreciate grows, whatever you complain about shrinks. When you focus on what is missing, you magnify the lack. When you focus on what you already hold, you magnify the abundance, and the universe reflects it back to you tenfold. So when you say, I am grateful for the money that flows to me now, you are activating the law of multiplication. When you say, I give thanks for the bills already paid, you are declaring the truth that provision is real, and the universe rushes to show you more. There are many who block their blessings because they grumble at small beginnings, they despise the little they have, they complain about the money they wish was more, and in doing so they shut the door to increase. For the law is clear: if you are faithful with little, you will be given much. If you are ungrateful with little, you repel the much that was waiting for you. So practice gratitude in every state. Give thanks for every coin, every dollar, every unexpected gift, every opportunity, no matter how small. Give thanks for food on the table. Give thanks for clothes on your back. Give thanks for shelter above your head. For each act of gratitude sends a signal into the universe that you are ready for more, and the universe always responds to the grateful heart. Gratitude is not only a thought, it is a vibration. It is a radiant energy that fills your atmosphere with magnetism. When you wake in morning and say, I am thankful for another day of abundance, you send forth a frequency that attracts abundance. When you lie down at night and say, I am thankful for the money that arrived today, you strengthen the magnetic pull for tomorrow. Gratitude creates a spiral upward, each act building upon the last until supply overflows. The one who is grateful for $10 receives 100. The one who is grateful for 100 receives 1,000. The one who is grateful for 1,000 receives tens of thousands. And so the cycle continues, because gratitude declares to the law of prosperity, I trust the source, I recognize the flow, I am open for more. On the other hand, ingratitude is poison. When you say it is not enough, when you say I wish it was more, when you complain about what is present, you close the channel of increase, you shut the door on the flow, you push away the very supply that longs to reach you. So never despise the day of small beginnings, never curse the little, for the little, when blessed, multiplies. Imagine two farmers. One blesses his field, giving thanks for every seed planted. He waters with care. He speaks of the harvest with joy. The other curses his field, saying the soil is too hard, the seeds too few, the harvest too slow. The first sees his field flourish, the second sees his field barren. The difference is not the soil, but the spirit. And so it is with gratitude in money matters. The grateful harvest riches, the ungrateful harvest struggle. Gratitude also transforms mind, for when you give thanks, you shift your focus from lack to abundance, from fear to faith, from worry to trust, and the mind that dwells in gratitude becomes fertile ground for wealth consciousness. The grateful mind sees opportunities where others see problems. The grateful heart notices doors where others see walls. The grateful spirit walks in light where others stumble in darkness. Say often, I am thankful for the money that flows to me in avalanches of abundance. I am thankful for the opportunities that appear daily. I am thankful that wealth is my divine birthright. I am thankful that prosperity surrounds me. I am thankful that money comes to me quickly and easily from expected and unexpected channels. And as you speak these words, you are programming the universe to send you more. Do not wait for large sums to appear. Before you give thanks now. Give thanks today, for even the smallest evidence of supply is the seed of great harvests to come. Gratitude waters the seed until it bursts forth in plenty. If you ignore the seed, it withers. If you bless the seed, it grows. Even in times of challenge, gratitude is the key. When bills pile up, give thanks that provision is already on the way. When opportunities seem closed, give thanks that greater doors are preparing to open. When pockets feel empty, give thanks that unseen streams are beginning to flow. For gratitude is the declaration that says, I know the truth beyond appearances. I trust the law of abundance. I rest in assurance that supply is mine. Gratitude multiplies because it aligns you with the vibration of wealth. Wealth is never fearful. Wealth is never complaining. Wealth is always celebrating. Wealth is always thankful. And when you match this vibration by living in gratitude, you step into the flow infinite riches, and the universe has no choice but to deliver more. The wealthy know this truth. They keep gratitude journals. They rise each day, giving thanks. They sleep each night, listing blessings, for they understand that gratitude is the seed of continued prosperity, and the poor often forget this truth. They complain, they worry, they focus on what is missing, and in doing so they perpetuate lack, not because the law withholds from them, but because they withhold gratitude from the law. Gratitude is the open door to miracles. When you give thanks for what you cannot yet see, you call it into being. When you give thanks for money that has not yet arrived, you magnetize its arrival. When you give thanks for blessings still invisible, you hasten their appearance into the visible world. For gratitude is faith in action, and faith always brings substance. So let your life be filled with thanksgiving. Speak it in the morning, speak it at night, whisper it throughout the day, for the grateful heart cannot be poor, the grateful mind cannot be empty, the grateful spirit cannot be lacking. Gratitude draws all good unto itself. Gratitude is the song that multiplies supply until it overflows, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Boldness, courage, and unwavering trust in divine order are the golden keys that call forth streams of money, opportunities, and miracles beyond human calculation. When one moves timidly in life, doors remain closed. When one hesitates to declare wealth, the flow remains weak. When one trembles in fear, the law cannot answer with abundance, for the law responds to boldness. It answers to courage. It multiplies where there is trust, and it magnifies the word that is spoken with authority. When you rise each morning and declare with boldness, money flows to me in overflowing streams, you are setting a divine command into motion. When you walk into the world with courage, believing that unseen forces are arranging blessings for you, you are aligning yourself with the very currents of prosperity. When you trust without wavering that every step you take is guided toward increase, then nothing can withhold your supply. Timidity weakens the word, hesitation waters down the declaration. Fear scatters the seed, but boldness plants the seed with strength. Courage waters it with confidence, and unwavering trust shines the light of faith upon it until the harvest comes forth in fullness. The universe does not answer the half-spoken word. It answers the word spoken as decree. It does not bow to the hesitant whisper. It bows to the voice that declares with certainty. The soul that is bold in speech and fearless in vision becomes a magnet for riches, opportunities, promotions, and miracles. Such a one walks into a room and doors begin to open. People feel the vibration of faith around them, and unseen channels begin to stir. Such a one does not ask if money will come, but knows that money is already flowing. Such a one does not wonder if the path will open, but trusts that the path is already prepared. When you move with courage, you refuse to let appearances of lack shake you. You see beyond the present. You stand firm in the truth that divine supply cannot fail. You may look at empty pockets, yet declare, I am wealthy. You may see unpaid bills, yet declare every bill is paid. You may face closed doors, yet declare greater doors are opening now. And as you speak these bold declarations, heaven and earth shift to make them true. Trust is the anchor of prosperity. Trust is the calm assurance that even if the outer world looks chaotic, the inner law is still at work. Trust is knowing that every setback is only a setup for a greater comeback. Trust is believing that divine order cannot be broken, and that all things are moving in perfect harmony for your good. When you trust unwaveringly, you stop struggling, you stop doubting, you stop fearing, and you let the current of abundance carry you forward. Boldness, courage, and trust are not only attitudes, they are powers. They are forces that multiply supply. When you speak boldly, you stir up the creative energy of the universe. When you act courageously, you step into opportunities that fear would have hidden from you. When you trust completely, you release resistance and allow blessings to pour without blockage. Say to yourself daily, I am bold in declaring wealth. I am courageous in living prosperity. I trust the divine order of my life. And as you say these words, let them carry the fire of conviction. Let them burn away doubt. Let them scatter fear. Let them release the vibration of confidence. And watch as money begins to flow. Watch as ideas begin to arrive. Watch as doors swing wide before you. The timid wait for proof before speaking. The bold declare before proof appears. And because they declare, the proof comes. The fearful wait for signs before moving. The courageous move before signs appear. And because they move, the signs follow. The doubtful wait for miracles to believe. The trusting believe first. and the miracles come running to meet them. Be bold in your affirmations. Speak them aloud with power. Let your voice carry authority. Say often, I am a magnet for money. I am surrounded by opportunities. I am walking in abundance. I am divinely supplied. Say these not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a decree, as a law, as a truth already established. And the universe will move heaven and earth to obey the decree. Be courageous in your actions. Take steps of faith, even when you do not see the full staircase. Take opportunities that stretch you. Say yes to doors that appear. Follow ideas that spark in your mind. And as you act courageously, you will find more doors opening, more channels flowing, more money appearing, because courage draws prosperity to itself. Be trusting in your heart. Rest in the assurance that divine order is always at work. You may not see how money will come, but you trust it will. You may not know which channel it will flow through, but you trust it is already flowing. You may not understand the timing, but you trust it is perfect, and in this trust you release all resistance, and the current of supply sweeps freely into your life. Boldness, courage, and trust create a triple force that no power of lack can resist. They form a vibration so strong that even mountains of limitation crumble. They open doors so wide that no man can shut. They call forth blessings so vast that your cup overflows. They summon opportunities so abundant that you cannot contain them. So rise today in boldness. Speak your wealth without hesitation. Rise today in courage. Walk forward into prosperity without fear. Rise today in trust. Rest in the divine order, knowing that nothing can block your supply. And as you live this way, streams of money will pour into your life. Ideas will flood your mind. Opportunities will surround you. Miracles will appear at your door. And your life will shine as a testimony that the law of prosperity answered to boldness, courage, and unwavering trust. Let no fear silence your voice. Let no doubt weaken your word. Let no delay shake your trust, for the law of prosperity is faithful. It responds to those who dare. It multiplies for those who believe. It manifests for those who declare. Boldly act courageously and trust unwaveringly.